the number 10 safety of all time, Brian Dawkins.
Number 10.
His coming out on the field and getting crazy, it worked.
It's funny because as a teammate, we would all make sure we got in position so that we could see him and what he was going to do that week.
You would see Doc a couple hours before a game, and you'd be like, how is he going to make it to game time without just losing his mind? It was a little scary.
God, Dawkins, you know what time it is! You know what time it is!
To play the way he played that position, he kind of had to turn himself into someone completely different.
They call him Weapon X.
Weapon X.
Weapon X.
With a nickname like Weapon X, it seems like Brian Dawkins is a perfect fit for number 10 on our greatest safeties list. And for all of his pregame style, he had plenty of endgame substance, being the only player in NFL history to record over 25 interceptions, forced fumbles, and sacks.
The Weapon X sort of mantra came from his ability to play anywhere and be used as a weapon.
Jim Johnson was able to revolutionize the safety position. What Jim Johnson looked at in Brian Dawkins is, we have this unique talent who we can place all over the field.
Knocked away by Brian Dawkins.
He can go after the quarterback. Offenses never knew where he was going to come from.
That was some hit by Brian Dawkins. Oh, can he hit?
He was a multi-dimensional safety because he could play deep.
He is firing, and it is intercepted by Brian Dawkins. Dawk is the man.
What a play by Dawkins. The Wolverine.
He could play in the box and defend the run.
Great play by Brian Dawkins.
He was a monster. I mean, who wanted to face Brian Dawkins?
Brian Dawkins really was the heart and soul of a great defense. He was also an inspiration for that defense.
Whatever we need, you be that thing. You be that leader that I know you are. In here, baby, that heart and that chest. Be that tonight. Can you feel that thing that's oozing out your doggone hands? That thing that's beating your doggone chest right now. Can you feel that?
He's got so much fire and desire to him, so it's contagious.
Bring what you got to the doggone table, man. Give it to me, and I'm gonna give it to you all out, all in.
Brian, being an amazing athlete, was able to make that work. I think Dawkins took way too long to get in the Hall of Fame.
I'm like Michael Jackson before he went crazy. Yes, sir. I'll be there.
I think it makes sense that Brian Dawkins would be on this list.
I would put him higher than number 10.
Brian Dawkins was one of the most fun players ever.
The number 9 safety of all time, Donnie Shell.
Number 9 on our list is Donnie Shell.
Kaboom. I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit any harder than Donnie Shell.
I just remember Donnie Shell was a popper. If you caught the ball and you came across the middle, pop. Donnie Shell was right there to just lay a hit on you every time.
Donnie Shell, number 9. These people are so disrespectful. Donnie Shell was the nastiest little SOB safety in the history of the NFL. I mean, how many championships did they win? You win 4 in 6 years. Everyone needs to shut up.
Donnie Shell was part of a 1974 Steelers rookie class that included 4 future Hall of Famers. And even though our number 9 safety never heard his name called in that 17-round draft, he was voted to 5 Pro Bowls during his 14-year career.
Donnie Shell wasn't a starter immediately, but from the late 70s to the mid-80s, he was a great player, and he kind of outlasted a lot of those guys. His prime was after the Steelers had won 4 Super Bowls.
Shell's big hits earned him the nickname the Human Torpedo. On a Monday night in 1978, he delivered his biggest boom against a future Hall of Famer.
Pittsburgh hammered Earl Campbell into submission, and the NFL's Rookie of the Year spent most of his afternoon on the Oilers sideline, nursing sore ribs.
That was a statement. It was just a perfect tackle. Earl Campbell, had he stayed in the game, we probably wouldn't have won that game. When Donnie Shell hit you, you knew you've been hit.
And it is tipped and then intercepted. Here we come. Donnie Shell with the ball.
It's his 50th, and he now passes Ken Houston, the Hall of Famer. He is the first strong safety in history to intercept 50 passes.
In 2017, Shell was inducted into the Steelers Hall of Honor. Enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame has proven more difficult.
Blunt, Green, Lambert, Ham. You almost forget that there's somebody else out there. Shell played forever. He's probably gets a little shortchanged because of his surrounding cast, but his longevity is right there. And anytime you're part of that defense over a long period of time, it means something.
Donnie Shell should be in the Hall of Fame. No ifs, ands, or buts. One of the all-time underrated, underappreciated players.
Donnie Shell and Ronnie Lott. That's it. All others suck.
The number 8 safety of all time, Kenny Easley.
Kenny Easley came out of UCLA. He was a big safety.
How'd you end up at UCLA? On the plane?
No, man. No, you go talking crazy.
He was a prototype. Physical, athletic safety.
Standing at 6'3", the number 8 safety on our top 10 list is one of the most imposing middle defenders of his era. Aptly named the Enforcer, the 5-time Pro Bowler punished ball carriers for nearly a decade.
Well, I'm vicious. No doubt about it. I play the game in a vicious manner. I'm not out there to hurt anyone, but my game is an aggressive type of game. Play hard and hit people hard.
Kenny Easley, to me, was the greatest safety in history. He had range.
You don't even have to look at the numbers when you see a receiver get hit the way he got hit. It was number 45, Kenny Easley.
The amazing thing about Kenny Easley highlights is that when he got an interception, he could move so gracefully and he used positional awareness so well.
Sipe is back to pass, fires one that's going to be picked off by Easley. He's on his way up the sideline. They'll never catch him. Goodbye, Cleveland.
The interceptions looked like they were intended for him. He would judge the ball in midair with absolute perfection. You look at those interceptions and you're like, where's the receiver?
He looked like a Lynn Swan when he had the ball in his hands. I mean, he did have that graceful movement.
Throws the field, picked off by Seattle at the 45. Easley will go all the way for a touchdown.
He had this fluidity to him.
He could run, he could knock down passes.
It's what Kenny Easley does best. He can cover a lot of ground while the ball is in the air.
Pass is tipped. It is intercepted. Kenny Easley.
Kenny Easley, son. Pacific Northwest. This ain't no joke. Seattle, son. He's the reason there's a 12th man.
With Kenny Easley, you were so used to the consistency. He was going to be there every down. He was going to make plays. And then unfortunately, the illness robbed him of that ability to be that same guy. He tried his best to push through it, but ended up ultimately having to retire.
Kidney failure ended Easley's career at age 28. His 7 seasons are the fewest of any safety on our list. But it was his grit and grace that earned him our number 8 spot, as well as a place in Canton.
Kenny Easley, Hall of Famer number 306, is indeed grateful.
He left some years on the field that we didn't get to share with him as fans.
Easley could do it all. I think he should probably be higher on this list.
You know, had he continued to play, I think you'd be listing him a lot higher, actually.
The number 7 safety of all time, Steve Atwater.
Play hard, play smart, and knock their ass off every chance you get, baby.
Steve Atwater is the first safety I remember. They really patrolled very well, and no one wanted to get in his range.
I mean, you say Steve Atwater, and like, I end up cringing, but I'm like, ugh.
Steve Atwater brought the lumber.
Showtime, baby, showtime in the Mile High City.
Literally, let's just get down to it. I've always called it pain day for a reason. Somebody's gonna get lit up. Somebody's gonna get jacked up, and people love it. Pain day. Everyone lives to see somebody get cracked. And your boy brought some serious, I mean, absolutely Riddell-type hits.
What plays in particular kind of stand out to you?
Well, everyone remembers the Christian Okoye hit on Monday Night Football.
I remember the hit like it was just yesterday.
Christian Okoye, big dude.
Boy, he is too big and too fast to be playing running back in the NFL.
And you talk about hitting a brick wall. I mean, Christian Okoye ran straight up for a reason, because he could.
An incredible run with about 5 guys on his back. The Nigerian Nightmare.
Oh, listen, nobody hits Christian Okoye up top. Christian Okoye is 700 pounds.
Good try, baby.
And can run a 4.6. Nobody hits Christian Okoye up top. Unless you're Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater.
Steve Atwater took it to him, man. I mean, he got hit.
Hit Christian Okoye so hard, like a solo tackle in the hole, like nobody was on his legs.
If Steve Atwater hit me as hard as he hit Christian Okoye, I wouldn't even be friends with people named Steve no more.
Okay, don't get mad at me, Tito. Keep your head on the swivel.
Like legit, like just in life, in general, I just would just like, what's up, man? What's your name? My name's Steve. But I gotta call you something else.
Christian Okoye, Steve Atwater. Boom! Boom! Christian Okoye is on the ground like this, man. Christian Okoye's legs was like this, dog. Steve Atwater, man. Boom! He hit him so hard. I got a cramp. Shoot. I really got a cramp, guys. Like for real.
So the hit is great, but it kind of oversimplifies Atwater's career.
I mean, not only an 8-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time Super Bowl champ, this is a guy whose name almost feels synonymous with the safety position.
Gibson's gonna win! Are you kidding me?
Atwater was a great cover safety.
And his ability to survey and anticipate.
It is intercepted!
Diagnose, recognize, and react before the offense's first step, and he was one of the best at doing that.
Is he the 7th best safety? Probably so.
Atwater would be 5th.
You know who list Steve Atwater is number 1 on? Christian Okoye's.
The number 6 safety of all time, Emlyn Tunnell.
Number 6, Emlyn Tunnell.
Come on, now you're just making up names. You're just making stuff up.
Emil Tunnel. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use that name from now on when I check into hotels.
Let me guess, he has 80 interceptions. He's just behind Paul Krause.
You're close. Our number 6 safety retired in 1961 with a then NFL record 79 career interceptions.
He might actually deserve to be higher than 6. His stats will bear out how dominant he was when you consider when he was playing, this wasn't a pass-happy league.
He fires a long pass, a danger pass, but fearless ball hawk M. Tunnell makes the catch for New York.
So he's got a couple of titles, that's great. He's a 4-time first-team All-Pro. He's recognized by his peers in that era as being outstanding. But the volume of picks that he had, 79 career interceptions. He was ahead of his time.
A great player right now, like a Richard Sherman, might get 40 to 50 interceptions for his career. Emlyn Tunnell had 79 in an era in which they played 12 games and threw the ball 15 to 20 times. That's playing center field.
Watch M. Tunnell play it like Willie Mays. A perfect catch.
I don't know what number he is.
He's number 6.
Well, he was the first real great one. He should be number 1. Go ahead.
Emlyn Tunnell was an undrafted World War II hero who made an immediate impact as a rookie in 1948.
Tom Landry was the defensive coach, and Landry was trying to build what he called the umbrella defense. And he needed a real specific kind of player to cover a lot of ground, to make the whole thing kind of work. When he saw Emlyn Tunnell, he said, I found my guy.
His nickname was Offense on Defense. There was one year, I believe it was 52,
where he had more yards returning kicks, returning interceptions, returning punts than the Giants running backs did.
Emlyn Tunnell adding another brilliant run back to his record and a touchdown to the New York side of the scoreboard.
In addition to being a great player, he was really a pioneer. He was the first purely defensive player to be voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was the first African-American voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was the first African-American assistant coach in the modern era of pro football. And he was the first African-American player to play for the New York Giants. He accomplished everything he could have possibly accomplished at a time when very few African-Americans were even playing in the NFL.
And now, the number 5 safety of all time, Ken Houston.
Remember Ken Houston?
I remember, was he on the Chiefs?
Ken Houston played back in the day. And some older guys.
Yeah, I'm too young for that.
Once again, history class is in session. Here's a lesson on the safety voted to more Pro Bowls than any other on this countdown.
Very fair for Ken Houston to be rated number 5. Ball hawk, but also was a people hawk. When Ken Houston got to you, remembered it.
Kenny Houston is the greatest strong safety in history. Kenny could run. He was physical. There may have never been a better tackler in the secondary than Kenny Houston.
Came from a small college, Prairie View, where he played linebacker. Because he had the size and the strength to play linebacker, he was perfect at the safety position at a time when you needed safeties to play the run.
The All-Pro in the Oilers secondary was Ken Houston, number 29, a lean, mean blade cutting down a ball carrier.
Dave said that I was a dirty player because I was a hitter. And I was always a little guy in among big men, so I had to strike first. And I took that attitude to the secondary.
George Allen was coaching in Washington. To complete my defense, I need Kenny Houston. And so he traded 5 players and said it was a bargain.
One of the worst trades in NFL history was when the Houston Oilers traded him to the Redskins for a bunch of tomato cans.
When number 27, Ken Houston, takes off his glasses, he does not become Superman. The 11-year veteran becomes Super Safety, one of the finest defensive backs the NFL has ever known.
For most Hall of Fame players, they have what you would call a signature play. And Kenny Houston had one of those plays on a Monday night game. Redskins-Cowboys. It was a low-scoring, close game.
Cowboy fullback Walt Garrison's about to score, and Kenny stops him at like the 1-inch line with a tackle that was so perfect, and it kind of was the story of his career.
Walt Garrison was literally a cowboy. I mean, he was a cowboy in the offseason, and he wrestled steers. In that particular situation, he was the steer, and Kenny Houston won the battle.
He did play in Washington when they went to the Super Bowl in 1972, but Ken Houston largely plays for some bad Oilers teams, so he's oftentimes forgotten, but a great safety.
Should be on any list of top 10 of any football player. No weaknesses. Strong, tall, big, smart, great.
The number 4 safety of all time, Troy Polamalu.
A lot of what makes Troy is his hair.
The hair gives him like a Samson look.
It's very luxurious.
Hi, Mr. Vaney. This is Troy Polamalu from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, I am the guy with big hair. Anyway, I'm calling to tell you that Head & Shoulders now has 4 shampoos just for men. Right. I haven't cut my hair for 10 years.
I mean, how is that ad not still on?
I think his is better than mine. Are you kidding?
His is better.
Way. Those luscious locks, wavier, shinier.
As a follically challenged man, I have great respect for anybody who's got that.
No player's hair has ever matched their style of play better than Troy Polamalu. Wild. All over the place.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty.
What a dangerous individual. Speaking of playmaking and death-defying picks on his fingertips, like hallucinogenic type picks. Stuff you haven't seen before ever.
That is intercepted. Troy Polamalu at the 40, 35,
There's something about putting that helmet on, he just became the Tasmanian Devil, and he's out here destroying people.
Goes to the draw, and great tackle, flying in there is Polamalu.
He pursued offensive players the way he pursued a life with Jesus.
What a play by Troy Polamalu.
Remember how fun he was? Remember how fast his closing speed was? Better than anybody else in the NFL, right?
What a play by the best safety in the business.
He was so fast. The one play that stands out to me was the 2005 season, and we were playing the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. And it was a play to the running back. And all of a sudden, he comes up and makes a play. And everybody just said, wow, he just made that play.
He was just a guy that was everywhere. He was always there at the critical time.
Flacco is going to be hit by Polamalu. The ball's out.
He could sniff a play. He anticipated a play.
And they tried to sneak it.
Troy.
Oh, Troy came up over the top.
It was almost like he knew the scenario called for this play, and he was ready for the play. He sensed it, almost like he saw the future.
Throws it over the middle of the field. The pass is juggled and intercepted. What a catch. He kept his hand underneath.
He was a Jedi. He was one with the football.
And another great interception from this marvelous safety.
Sure, Troy's hair was unique, but what separates the number 4 safety was the fact that he had the freedom to do whatever he wanted.
2nd and 4 from the 17. Polamalu goes through the gap, and down goes Dalton. What a play!
Wow. Troy doing what Troy does.
Troy had the most freedom of any player I've ever coached in our defense.
They don't want to take any chances. Oh, Polamalu again jumping the gun.
You talk about having a quarterback snap count down pat.
I don't know how that happens, by the way, that the coach says, hey, Troy, you can just go out there and do whatever you want. What other player do they let do that?
I think he took chances that a lot of safeties couldn't take.
Polamalu team diving over the line.
You know, we have the freedom to switch positions, do different things if we feel different things, and I use some of my liberty.
What are you doing? You're killing me.
His range and his ability to just sacrifice his body to make plays, whether it was a tackle, in the run game or what he did in coverage. Just a guy who is physical every snap of every game.
Troy taught me that sometimes it's definitely great to be athletic and also have long, curly, locky, beautiful hair.
I would have him lower on the list.
Really?
I think that's fair. I think Troy's 4th.
Who made this list? No way.
The number 3 safety of all time, Ed Reed.
Ed Reed is, no doubt about it, the best safety to ever play football.
They ain't never seen this. They ain't never saw nothing like this now.
Did we do it right by putting Ed ahead of Troy?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd put Ed Reed number 1.
I think this might be a little overrated for Ed Reed.
You know what? The more I think about this list, this whole list is Pharrelled. I think Ed Reed should be 10 through 1.
When we talk about guys who maximize being around the football and making a bigger play, that was Ed Reed.
I think he really changed the way the position was played.
He's athletic. He can guard the tight end. He can guard the running back out the backfield. He can help over the top. He can help in the run defense. He is the prototypical safety.
He did that for so long. Of course, I'm mad at him because he picked off a couple passes of mine.
Pass pumps once, fires end zone. Picked off by Ed Reed in the end zone.
But so, get my ball back, Ed.
The interceptions, the hands that he had, I wish I could have had his hands. I think I dropped more picks than I had.
He devastated lives, making huge plays.
Oh, he's hit hard.
Constantly harassing people, things of this nature. Hits after catch hits. Just a vicious, just horrible, terrible, just perfect human being.
Oh, what a hit!
That I appreciate like no other. I've never been a fan of the Ravens, but I respect Ed Reed for his brilliance as a football player.
What's up, boy?
There was no defender more dangerous than Ed Reed. Our number 3 safety holds the record for most interception return yardage in NFL history.
His return ability is the one that sets him apart.
He was a weapon. Teams were legitimately afraid to throw the ball in his area at times.
I look at him as more of being the saving grace.
Touchdown, Ed Reed!
When the ball was in his hands, he just wasn't, hey, I got an interception. It was about going to go get 6.
He's such a dynamic athlete and has that same feel that transitions to being a ball carrier, to being a receiver, that he changes the complexion of a game.
I'm gonna take this one back to the crib, you heard?
Ed Reed was the best offense that the Ravens had in a couple of those years.
Throws, end zone intercepted. Ed Reed's got it. 10-yard line coming back. He gets by Cobb. He's down the Eagle sideline. One man to beat. Touchdown, Ed Reed.
We great at safety ever. We ain't done though. It's a pleasure to play beside you.
When Bill Belichick worries about you, you're a pretty dang good player.
Ed Reed's Ed Reed. Covers up for a lot of stuff.
Everything he does it at an exceptional level.
To be as lauded over the course of his career by Bill Belichick.
You're the best free safety that's ever played this game that I've seen.
By Tom Brady.
I want you to keep an eye on Ed Reed today.
Yeah.
When you have two guys who are at the tops of their professions and had to game plan for this guy for years and years, and they think he's one of the greatest of all time, there's no way that Ed Reed doesn't deserve to be on this list.
I think you're right at number 3.
He needs to be higher on this list.
In my opinion, Ed Reed is like number 2 all time.
He gets all 10 slots, and then he's allowed to bring 3 friends to the bar mitzvah. So I'll say Ronnie Lott, Troy Polamalu, Donnie Shell. Game over.
The number 2 safety of all time, Paul Krause.
It's the bomb right down the middle. It picked off. Paul Krause has broken Emlyn Cannell's all-time NFL record. He now has 81 career interceptions.
Until someone beats Paul Krause's career interception record, you have to put him at 1 or 2.
How long did he play? 40 years? That can't be right. They didn't even have a forward pass when this guy was playing. Are you sure it's interception?
NFL record, unbelievable. The guy was unbelievable, but no one knows who it is. You might as well be talking about sauerkraut, because no one remembers Paul Krause to save their ass.
Paul Krause played on all of those Vikings teams that went to the Super Bowl in the 70s, and in a lot of ways revolutionized the safety position because he created turnovers. And he ends up retiring with the most interceptions ever.
Our number 2 safety of all time is best remembered as a Viking, but he actually started his Hall of Fame career in Washington.
This is Paul Krause, the Redskins' number 2 draft selection, who earned All-Pro honors in his rookie year. In 1964, Paul led the NFL with 12 interceptions. Paul Krause should be a good one for many more seasons.
I had great success. I had 28 interceptions in 4 years, so that's pretty good.
Despite being voted All-Pro his first 2 seasons, Krause wasn't viewed as a scheme fit in D.C., so he was traded to Minnesota.
And Sam Huff was so mad when I was traded that he could spit nails, and he still talks about it.
What do you want to get rid of Paul Krause for? I mean, this guy is a football player. Just let him play center field. That's what he does, you know. Now Paul Krause is at the all-time league record. He's in the Hall of Fame, and the Redskins had him. Let him go.
And it's funny, when I got to Minnesota Vikings, Bud Grant just said, "You play the way you're used to playing, just don't get beat deep."
Krause was a perfect complement to Minnesota's ferocious defensive line, the Purple People Eaters, as the Vikings captured 4 NFC championships.
We used to call him the center fielder. We knew that if a ball hung up in the air too long, he wasn't very far away from it.
Some of the criticism was him was he was a center fielder. He played back. Well, that's what Bud Grant wanted. He had a great defensive line, and he could hit people. He just wasn't required to do it.
Coming up was Krause. Oh, Krause does it again.
Paul Krause is one of those guys, like Lawrence Taylor, who revolutionized the position of safety.
I think he's probably number 2 on this because of numbers. 81 career interceptions for Paul Krause in an era where the ball wasn't in the air all that often. But that type of a number, am I going to quibble with him being at 2? No.
You know, I always hate to say a record's never going to be broken, but 81 interceptions, pretty damn hard to top.
And now, the #1 safety of all time, Ronnie Lott.
Best safety I ever saw play was probably Ronnie Lott. He hit hard like a linebacker. He was deep in coverage also, you know, as like a corner.
Ronnie Lott, he's in for 6 points for San Francisco.
He's the godfather of the safety position. Everyone who's played football since, 1981 at the safety position wants to be Ronnie Lott.
He is a legend of the game. Ronnie is heart and soul of the National Football League.
You know, Ronnie Lott was a great safety, but the first 5 years of his career, he essentially played corner. So how do you get around that?
Ronnie was the best corner in the league.
And the cornerback also stole their thunder as he earned Pro Bowl honors for the 3rd time in his 3-year career.
And then, let's just move him to safety a little early, where he'll be the best safety of all time.
Pass over the middle, picked by Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott defines the defense of the Niners that is always overlooked. That defense was nasty every one of those Super Bowl years. And Ronnie Lott was the heart and soul of those defenses.
His emotional and intellectual ability to grab people and lead, that's a big reason why he would be #1 on this list.
Super Bowl! Back to back.
Look at Ronnie Lott. Look at he never smiled. He just had that face. Ronnie Lott hit dude so hard that Pat Summerall would pause from where he'd go, Ronnie Lott.
Back to throw it, looks right, throws left. Intended for Ingram. Ronnie Lott.
He's the guy that lifts this whole team.
Ronnie Lott, pure intimidating, because he was going to come at you 150 miles an hour.
Oh, is he crushed? And that's a Ronnie Lott tackle when you hear him all the way to the top row.
Mickey Woods in the Super Bowl 23. Let's get ready to do the shuffle.
Woods again, his 5th carry. Oh, is he hit? What a pop by Ronnie Lott.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Lott. No more of that.
When you go play the game of football, it's a violent game. I wasn't going to leave anything behind. I was never going to allow myself to be defeated.
And of course, this countdown would be incomplete without mention of the most famous missing digit in NFL history.
It happened at the last game of the season. We were playing the Cowboys. I think it was Timmy Newsome. I was trying to tackle him. Unfortunately, his helmet kind of smashed my finger against my shoulder pads.
I'm sure he has one of those fractures where the bone comes through the skin because there is blood involved in that thing.
I had to go see the doctor. He says, well, look, one of your bones is missing in the finger. I chose to get the finger amputated so I could play.
Talk about gritty blood, sweat, and tears, and a pinky. I mean, he gave it all.
Put me back in, Coach. Hey, Coach, put me back in.
Yeah, he wasn't always a safety, but I'm supposed to look a guy in the eye that said, yeah, just take it off above the knuckle. I want to go into the 3rd quarter and tell him he's not the greatest safety of all time. No, I'm going to make him the greatest safety of all time.
Ronnie Lott is the only NFL safety to end his career with fewer fingers than he started with. What about Palomalu and what about John? Count their fingers. How many fingers they got? Do they have 10 fingers? Well, then they're not the greatest. Call me when they have 9.7 fingers.
Believe it. Believe it.